everyone, so this tutorial I am gonna do this beautiful peacock feather, and I'm gonna use a variety of products. So I am gonna be using Elated and Walking on Air. I am gonna be using one called Over the Moon. I'm using another one called Oak Shimmer, and this is beautiful for the sort of golden colour on the peacock feather, you can see there. And then I'm going to use a little bit of Snow White and Liquish as well for highlights and lowlights. Okay, so I've just popped them on my form ready, and I have got a tip here which has like a nail bed colour painted on and then finished with matte top coat. Okay, I'm now going to just slightly buff over the surface, just so it's super smooth and that we're starting on a really nice clean fresh surface. So this would be kind of like the equivalent of when you finish doing your enhancements or your builder in a bottle overlay or something like that, and the nail's all ready for your nail art. Okay, so we've done that, and then we're going to give it a wipe with some cleanser on a lint-free wipe. Make sure everything's nice and clean, because we do not want dust, do we? It's a pain in the bum. So what we're going to do, we're going to use, let's use our Precision Art brush for this. Okay, and let's just roughly put our dot down. So we want like a fairly darkish colour. So I'm going to mix a little bit of black in with Elated just to get me my navy blue colour. Okay, and this is going to be the middle of our feather, and I'm going to do it so that it comes up and off the nail to the right hand corner. So the first thing we want to do is we're looking at our reference image, and we want to put down a small little dot. So you can see I picked up like a bead of this gel, and I'm just going to pop it down here in the middle. So I put that down. I can take the excess of my brush just on a bit of paper towel or lint-free wipe, and then we're just going to come in and we're going to make that shape that's in the middle of the peacock feather. Okay, we'll give that a flash cure. Then I'm going to use a colour called, I think it's Walking on Air, is the metallic, because we want peacock feathers have got that kind of metallic sheen to them. So these colours here are perfect. So I'm going to use this colour here called Walking on Air. And then I'm going to paint around it. And again, I'm just following my reference image. So I'm just going to paint around that. And this kind of comes down into a rounded off point at the bottom. With nail art, there is no right and wrong. If you want to layer this up the other way, then obviously you are more than welcome to. So I'm just looking at the shape of it. So this needs to come across a little bit flatter. So I'm just going to pull that product over and bring that down. Just using the gel that's there, coming round. Because we're using a gel polish, obviously it tends to move more than an art gel would. And then it will self-level off nicely. Okay, so let's pop that one in the lamp and give that. We only need to do flash cure because we're not layering over. So we can just do all of the colours around and then do a full and proper cure at the end. Now going to use that beautiful Oak Shimmer colour. Okay, so around here the line is a little bit smaller. So we're just going to use the point of our brush to paint that down. around. And then we want quite a bigger section on top. Okay. Again, we're going to go in and we're going to flash cure that. Then the next colour I'm going to use is a colour called Delighted, which is like a pale turquoisey teal colour. And before we go in to use our Over the Moon, which is our really deep metallic. Okay, and then we'll use that one afterwards. So we just want to do a line all the way around. Just want to do this pale line round. There's so many colours in a peacock feather. Okay, and then we'll pop that in to cure before we do our next step. So our next step, we're going to use the Over the Moon, which is our beautiful deep metallic turquoise. And we're going to come around the outside of the lighter turquoise that we put down. We're going to paint a fairly thicker line. It doesn't need to be massive, but we're going to do a technique in this colour before we cure it. So we want to make sure we've got enough to pull through to do that technique with. Okay, and let's bring that up. And just have that go off for now. I'm just making sure there's enough gel colour so that we can pull this through. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up my fine liner, which is the tiny skinny little brush. And I am going to go round and put another thin line of the Delighted, bearing in mind that this is still wet, the deep turquoise one. I'm just going to pull that into that a little bit. So we do need to be careful when we're coming round because the other gel is wet. And then we're just going to place a little bit on there as well. And you can see that blends in. So with our fine liner, we're going to come in and we are going to pick up from where this light turquoise is. So the Delighted colour. And we're going to come through and we're going to pull with our fine liner. Okay. So when we're doing peacock feathers, they come out and they come up. And we're just going to start by pulling through there so we get this feathery effect. We're going to add more. This is going to be our base. Just run our brush through. It's not going to disturb any of the other colours because we cured them. So let's come through. And we're just using the gel that's there for now. And we're just flicking our brush up and round and through, making sure we follow that shape. We come to the top, they come up and out. And then go back over again just to make sure we've got this really cute feather effect. Okay, so you can start to see that there. So we're going to pop this in the lamp and give it a cure. So we're going to come in again and we're going to do some heavier lines using the same fine liner, but this time we're just using Over the Moon on its own, loaded into our brush. Okay, so I'm going to come in. I'm just going to start putting some more heavier lines in. And then we definitely need to add some of this at the bottom here. So I'm just going to paint that in. I'm just following the flow of the peacock feather. And then we'll add some of our shadowing and highlighting to define the feathers. Okay, so we're going to take our navy blue colour we used at the beginning. And we're going to come in and we're now going to add a little bit of our shadows in. I do like detail. So this particular design probably isn't particularly salon viable. But it's definitely something that I have fun doing. So we need to have a little bit of fun in our life, don't we? So I'm just literally using the tip of my brush. I'm just going to come in and create some really fine little details to really make this look feathery. If we're by just using the one colour, which is a beautiful colour and it gives us what we want, we don't get the feathery look. We really need to add shadows and highlights. So that's what I like to do. You can see I haven't got a lot of gel on my brush. We kind of want to think of, I call them eyelashes. Because that's what we're trying to kind of create. We want that really fine, fluffy look when it comes to feathers. Okay, and before I pop this in the lamp, I'm gonna add a few more little shadows and details. So just a little bit of more colour around there. And a shadow around on this one. And then maybe a little bit of darker here. The thing is with nail art and doing this type of design, or I could keep going forever to give it more and more detail, but we have to stop at some point. Just going to clean that up. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the white and I'm going to add a little bit of white in on here, just to add a little bit more depth so it looks a little bit more realistic, just because we don't want just one colour on there. And the same a little bit on this blue. I'm literally using the smallest amount so it's almost semi-transparent. Okay, and then I'm going to pop this in the lamp, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a matte top coat on and a shiny afterwards so that you can see the both. And because we've used metallic colours, obviously matte won't show them up as nicely, but for you to be able to see the design properly, I think matte will be the best option. Okay, so there's it with the matte, and you can see the detail in it more, and actually the metallic still looks absolutely beautiful. I am now going to put a shiny top coat over. Just so you can see it fully shiny as well. I think I prefer it matte, but there you go, there it is with it shiny as well, and you've seen it matte. So I hope you've enjoyed that tutorial. I know it's quite a fairly simple design, but it takes a little time to do. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you all again soon. Bye for now.